Welcome back to MKUsual. You fucking morons. Sorry.
Stinky nerds.
Yeah, I'm sorry for being mean. I'm sorry for who I am as a person.
What's the worst you've ever been bullied?
Oh.
Not worse, like if somebody beat you up.
Well, I don't know. Okay, I'll paint you a picture.
Okay.
When I was in 4th grade, I was a round, soft little ginger dumpling. And I wore Velcro shoes and matching like sweatshirt, sweatpants. It would be like the same color. It'd be like if I had a red shirt on, I'd wear red pants. And then my shoes were like white Velcro. I don't know. I just liked not tying shoelaces, so I didn't realize that Velcro shoes were like indicative of special needs or orthopedic problems. And that was also the year that I got glasses and braces.
Oh.
Or retainers. I got retainers. So it's like worse than braces. So I talked like this and I couldn't see and I was fat. And I was telling facts about the A-10 Warthog and aircraft carriers at school.
We would have been friends.
Did you like the Gulf War?
I had a poster when I was a kid.
Okay, we would have been friends.
Of different fighter jets and helicopters that were used in the Gulf War, actually.
Yeah. There
was a lot of Gulf War fever when we were kids. Did you have the Gulf War trading cards?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
I have them. I have a 3-ring binder of Gulf War trading cards mixed in with.
We should we should look at those someday.
Okay, I'll bring them over someday. We can go through them.
I had for Christmas, I asked for the like CNN VHS box set of all the live news coverage from the
Gulf War. Dude, the Gulf War was so big.
It was lit.
It was lit, and it was one of my first memories.
You could watch mass murder on television for the first time.
Yeah. I remember having those green little army men, and I would play, like, peacekeeping mission when Bosnia was on TV. I'd be like, it's just a peacekeeping operation. That's not even a joke. Wait, so you were a little fat dork. What was happening? Yeah. I was a little fat dork.
Well, I would just get, like... I don't remember anything specific. I just remember, like... It was, like, classic, like... The older, like, junior high and high school kids were like, oh, look at the fucking fat dork. And I'd be like, don't call me that. And then, like, yeah.
Honestly,
My mom said, if you don't have anything nice, and I was like, that was me.
Yeah. You would speak up for yourself?
Well, I don't know if I actually ever said it out loud, but, if I would have...
Oh, it would have got them good if I would have said something back.
Yeah.
I was bullied, but honestly, the stuff that sticks with me, like, I remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
But the stuff that sticks with me is actually some of the most minor stuff, because sometimes that stuff hurts more.
Yeah.
Like, I had someone do the whole thing where they come out and they're like, "What's up, buddy?" And they pat you on the back, and then they had, like, a mustard packet. Then I had mustard on the back of the shirt. And that, to this day, randomly pisses me off. Even though that's, like, non-violent.
It's psychological warfare.
I had been in fights. Yeah, because it makes it feel like, oh, that person said something nice to me.
You can't trust. It, like, breaks your trust in
yes,
humanity.
That hurts more than somebody, like, hitting me and I hit them
twister?
Back. Yeah.
I'll take a titty twister. I'll take a titty twister right now.
That hurts way more. And then one time in 7th or 8th grade... Actually, it might have been 6th grade. I had a teacher. We were at like this field day type thing, and my civics teacher. I loved history growing up. Loved the Gulf War. Loved history.
You fucking fat dork.
And I had this super hot civics/history government teacher.
Mr. Stevens. You've talked about him a lot.
So I had this super hot. And so, like, I just loved that. That class was, like, the best. Because we talk about, like, World War II and government stuff. And she's hot. And I'm, like, just 13. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, there was a day.
You don't know if your boner is for gassing the trenches or for Mrs. Stevenson?
Yeah, it's just a mix of all the best feelings for a little fat nerd Dennis. And there was a day where we just kind of had a free day or whatever. It was like a free day or something, like make up your work or whatever. And then when you're done, we're just like playing with our friends. And I was in a classroom, and there was like 2 or 3 of our teachers there. And me and my friends were playing, and I was like bending paper clips. Like I was bending a paper clip trying to make like shapes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like me and my friends got a little too loud, or like laughed too loud or something. And then like my teacher, I don't remember her name, got the hot one, got like
Mrs. Bazonkers.
got like annoyed at us, like us like little nerds.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and we were like, we're sorry. And then like, and we were good kids. I was a very compliant child. And then I guess we didn't take her seriously enough, because she goes, seriously. And then she came up to me and was like, I could call that a weapon, because I had this paperclip that I had like undone and was playing with. And like that was like so out of left field for me that I thought she was joking. And I like laughed, and she's like, I'm serious. And I was like, oh shit, like why would that even be like, you know? And then I heard her talking to our math teacher, who I also loved. And she was like, I just don't like him. Like by like name. And like there's nothing, I wasn't a troublemaker, and like that just hurt so much. And I've always thought, like, why would a teacher?
Damn.
Yeah.
It's like when you like.
That's when I was like, that's it. I take Hitler's side so I can argue with you. I don't take Hitler's side. Don't take Hitler's side just because.
Comment below if you take Hitler's side,
so we can expose you.
Yeah.
As a bad person. But
Clearly.
those two things like emotionally hurt more than like being in a physical altercation.
Yeah. The thing that sticks with me is like, I lived in a small town on the edge of town, so we'd like get all our bikes. We'd all meet at my house and we'd go like ride. We had made like trails through like the tree line, like the windbreak. On the other side was like this guy's fields, like soybean, and you plant different shit. So we'd go get our bikes, we'd meet here, we'd go down the fucking hills and trails and shit. And then there was this like these 2 brothers, and they always called me Nickelodeon. And so that's innocuous. It's completely like, it's not even like an insult. Well, now it is. But like,
thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
Whatever your last name is, Foot Guy.
Yeah. Dan Foot Guy.
So, but something like that when you're a kid, it's like a slight.
Nickelodeon, and they just like they say it, but it was just like constant, like every time.
Yeah, when you're a kid and your brain's not formed, any form of taunting is like emotionally hurtful.
And so I was like, oh yeah, well you're fat, because one of them was kind of fat.
Yeah.
And then I just like rode away on my bike, and they stopped. But then a couple hours later, their mom came over to our house.
Oh, no.
Guess what? Really fat. So I got in trouble.
Fat mom got offended you called her kid fat.
Yeah.
When he was calling you Nickelodeon. You got in trouble?
Well, yeah, I had to like stand there and get yelled at by this kid's mom, and then like apologize, and then I got like scolded by my mom. It's like, you can't do that, and I'm like, well, yes, but. And so then that's like another thing. It's like, then I'm like, well, I was like, what am I supposed to do?
It's like a powerlessness.
Yeah,
like you can't fight back.
Right. I'm like, yes, it's like innocuous, but like. It's like, what is that fucking torture called? Where it's like death by 1,000 cuts. Like each individual thing doesn't hurt, but over time it just like accumulates and drives you insane.
Like water torture.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the emotional trauma segment.
All that being said,
we've got good news.
Yeah, we're not like complete fucking losers. We get a lot of feedback from the show.
We've had a few episodes now. We're starting to get comments, letters, phone calls.
all kinds of, yeah. We got some mail. People found our address online and sent us mail.
The producer wants us to do a mail segment. We've been getting mail. So
You wanna?
I'll start with one.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
That's Daisy. I don't know if you guys can hear that. She's chewing on her bone.
First one. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, we read this earlier today. Darkness envelops the serpent, yet he still sees.
Looks like it was written in blood.
Yeah, and there is like a suspicious stain at the bottom of it. We've been getting a lot of mail from this guy.
The handwriting is pretty recognizable.
Yeah, the handwriting's been the same pretty much every time. Do you want to read one?
Yeah, I'll read one. I want to thank all our fans for reaching out. Couldn't do this without you guys.
Keep liking, subscribing, sending in your comments. Hit that notification bell.
This one's kind of heartfelt. It says, "To those with knowledge." And then it has an arrow. And I don't, I only speak English. This looks like
A bunch of random signals, yeah.
cryptic symbols and
It's a grid of cryptic signals. Yeah.
that's nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. Looks like it's from the same guy. Dear MKUsual, Nick looks like a moron. I bet he doesn't wipe his ass front to back. I bet he wipes it left to right. Fucking moron with distaste, Daryl. Thank you, Daryl. I like that we have a name to stick to this guy now.
Is it Daryl with a Y?
Darryl.
Okay.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you for saying what I can't say. Oh, the same suspicious stain.
Must have been drinking coffee earlier.
I like that we have people that...
They take time out of their day. They go to the post office and share these nice. Oh, this is 2.
Oh, yeah, just pick one at random, I guess.
I'll pick this one at random. This one says, "The day draws near, and the only way you'll catch me is when I'm ready for my messiahship to be announced to the world. The police are too corrupt and stupid.
Okay.
The moon smiles on my..." What does that say?
Crimes.
Crimes.
The moon smiles on your crimes. Thank
I
you.
was going to say crevices.
I think that one looks like it was from Daryl, too.
It does.
I'll do another one.
Well, shout out to Daryl.
I feel like all these are from Daryl so far. Oh, this is a great one. Oh, this one is it's word art. Same coffee stain. Exact same coffee stain. So we got a fan. It says, "You're the tastiest 100% GMO big boy band peen. Your second favorite villain, not the serpent." Thank you, Daryl.
Probably Daryl.
Daryl.
They didn't sign that one.
No, but the coffee stain.
The same coffee stain from 2008 is on all these papers.
Yeah, it's kind of a clue. I feel like Daryl. Daryl, just got a new notebook, buddy. And we're glad you're enjoying the show.
Let's see what else. We got one more. This one. This one just says, this is a really nice one. This one just says, "Laura P, Samuel M, Becky A, Peter L, Amelia R, 7 hobos, Kyle S, Sarah S, twofer, Timothy V, David C, Maria V, Kyle B, I'll do it again. 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 I'll do it again.
Thank you.
Anyway, thanks for reaching out.
Yeah. I have been meaning to give these to the police.
Yeah, it's kind of sentimental though. We don't want to.
I know, and I'm just busy.
I just want to turn it over.
No, I'm just tired. Maybe take a picture of them and send it to the cops.
Yeah.
I'll get around to it next week.
I didn't see my name on any of those lists, so
No.
I think. Well, he did call me a fucking moron.
Yeah. What's up with that, Daryl?
I thought
Come get him if you don't.
I wipe my ass right to left, Daryl. Not left to right.
I don't send people creepy codes. Thank you for the letter, but
Thank you for the letters. Yeah, we're gonna start the show.
no.
Rip vapes.
No. Daryl's in the house again. Daryl, come back when we're done.
He's moving his bones around again.
Daryl.
We invite him over one time. He moves into the crawl space.
I know. Always bringing his friends over. What is that smell?
He's eating my chips too. That's pretty annoying.
Ugh.
Well, I don't know. I was thinking about conversations we've had recently, and we both had like, I don't know. We don't really have a name for this segment yet. We've both experienced deja vu or like synchronicities, and like had experiences where like you feel like you've been there before, or it's a pattern that's too specific to be like coincidence types.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna I mean,
Synchronicities.
we're gonna talk about some of this stuff. We're not always funny. We're rarely funny, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if we're ever funny.
I guess I'll start.
Okay, what's a big synchronicity?
Well, I'll give you an example. I've had like a lot of these types of experiences. And years ago, my girlfriend at the time got me this messenger bag, like a sling, like a messenger bag, like mailmen use that kind of bag. And it was an Andy Warhol print. It's pretty cool. Still have it. And had like the 3 crosses, like Jesus and the 2 people that were crucified next to him. It was just those 3 crosses repeating all over. And I wrote the words profit motive. So I was researching the Federal Reserve Bank. Please don't get me started on that. And then I was also reading a lot of like spiritual texts and reading other religious books like the Quran and the Torah and stuff about prophets. So like prophet and prophet. Anyway, this is where I think like the story started.
So she got you the bag.
She got me the bag
with the religious imagery on it.
And I was going through my own little spiritual journey with the messenger. I was studying other messengers of like spiritual teachings. And then use that bag for years, Fast forward a few years, I meet this other person and they do like a numerology of my name, which is I don't fully understand like the history of it, but you take each letter of the alphabet has a number associated with it, and then you add those numbers up and reduce them down, and you get like a single digit or 2-digit number, and those numbers are associated with your life path. It's kind of like a astrology type thing. Your name has like a weight and a meaning. People have like studied this, and people use it to like determine what paths to take in life, or like, seek direction. And my full name was 11. I got the 11 life path, which is a significant one. 11 repeating numbers are more significant in this thing. I don't know. She was pretty crunchy. She was into this stuff, so she's like, I'll do it for you, and blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, the 11 is the messenger path. Okay. That was interesting. And then, like, fast forward a few more years. This is maybe, like 2006, then, like, 2012, and then, like, around the time of the pandemic, I moved back home, got laid off, moved back home to help my dad run his businesses, and this family friend has this beautiful spring-fed pond that we would go fishing at, and it's out in this pasture, and up on the hill they have 3 huge wooden crosses, like the same.
Oh wow!
They held like their Easter ceremony, or it was like they went to this church, and the church would go out and use this land to do like.
I'm listening. Keep talking.
To do services, and my dad and I would go fishing out at this pond, and I kept seeing these dragonflies, like big dragonflies would come up and like buzz around where I was at this pond. Like they're probably everywhere, but it just like I noticed them more and more and more. So I looked up what is the like symbolism or imagery of a dragonfly. What does that represent? And in Native American like folklore or whatever you want to call it, they're messengers, they're spirits, or they're bringing you a message in your life. So I started to like, when that happened and I saw that, I started to think about back to all these other things. And so I happened to call my mom. We were talking on the phone and I was telling her this stuff. I was like, oh, I was just thinking about this. It's kind of weird. And I get to the life path thing with the number 11 and she gasped. She's like, oh, whenever I see 1111 on a clock, I stop and pray for you just to like make, hey, I hope he's doing okay. Watch over him, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's just like things like that. What do they mean? I don't know. I hesitate to like ascribe too much, but also like pretty captivating for me.
Yeah, I think when you had initially brought this
like,
up,
significant to me for sure, but like
it's like emotionally significant for you and probably your mother. I just think it's interesting that like, so you have the messenger bag with the religious symbol on it. Your life number goes to messenger. Then the same symbol that's on the bag is associated with this dragonfly place. Dragonflies are messengers.
Yeah.
The number 11 fits into this, and then you're talking to your mom about all this, and then she has separately this thing about 11 and you.
Since I was like, she said she'd been doing that for years without any knowledge of any of this other stuff.
So I just think it's cool. Because, like, okay, a lot of people are just going to say, okay, this type of stuff is pure coincidence. There's no...
I'm a fucking... cuckoo.
Schizo.
Yeah.
There's no, like...
Clearly unmedicated.
Well, that could be true. And also... no, but here's my thing with stuff like this. I've heard so many stories, and almost everybody has stories like these. Maybe not quite like that, but people have these stories where I remember, and I don't know if this is a synchronicity.
Like, also, I've kept a journal for 20 years, so, like, I can go back and see, like, when I was thinking about it. So I don't, it's like...
I envy that.
I kind of have a record of all my schizophrenic ramblings.
I envy that, but I don't think it's schizophrenic because
what were you saying?
You have this thing that starts in, like, a hard time in your life. And it just keeps pounding over and over on this messenger thing until it culminates in this conversation with your mom about how she's always thinking about you and praying for you. And that to me isn't... When people have these stories, they're very seldom random. Like, that's a lot of random stuff, like the numerology, the dragonflies, blah, 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 blah. But, like, the through line, like the beginning of the story to the end of the story... is the story of a son going through tough times and then finds out his mom's like praying for him and stuff. And like, that's a coherent story.
Right.
that makes all the other stuff in the middle make sense. And like, why does anything make sense at all? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
we had, and again, I don't know if this is synchronicities, right? Where I had an aunt who died when I was very young. And she was like a railroad. She did like railroad cars. She like, I don't know what the word is anymore. I used to know. When
Like
you switch the tracks and all that stuff, and you're like, you go that way, like kind of like an air traffic controller, a controller.
Yeah. Okay.
And there was
Pretty
just
sick job.
yeah, I was like, she was great too. She was amazing. I love her. Obviously, my aunt. But after she passed away, there was just an insane amount of like train stuff. Like, we would be like during her funeral procession, like when the cars are all driving, you know, behind the hearse and everything. Like, we were stopped by like multiple trains. It was just one of those things where it's like,
Yeah.
it could just be a random thing, but it also like it means something to the people.
Right.
And I feel like in your story in particular, the beginning and the end.
It's like she's up there, like switching the tracks to get in your way one last time.
Yeah, and I know that's
like,
not. Otherwise, there'd be
I
like
know.
chaos in the U.S. transportation system.
I know.
But all these
I know.
all these little things about like where you schedule something and
Yes.
when and what time things happen and stuff, like, I just feel like there is a bigger plan in life. I think you have a beautiful story there, and I think
It's kind of terrifying, actually.
It's kind of terrifying. It goes into that whole like, are things random or are things like planned or whatever?
Yeah.
In a way.
For me, it's like, well, it's like the mice and men. It's like the best laid plans. It's like I thought I had it. I thought I was figuring it out, but turns out those things probably kept coming into my awareness because I was missing something. They were trying to like, it was like trying to point me in a different direction.
Yeah.
Because up until like a couple years ago, for like 20 years, I was just like bouncing off the fucking bumpers at the bowling alley. And now I'm like, finally have the bumpers off. I feel like I can go in the direction I want to go, you know.
And why? And what if it? If there's not, if it was just, if everything was just random, then like people's stories wouldn't make sense. They'd be like, oh, I keep seeing dragonflies, and then I find out. I think that's the difference between something like schizophrenia and synchronicities.
Yeah,
Somebody with schizophrenia would be drawing patterns to like a completely crazy, nonsensical, you know, the TV is watching me or something.
They were out of cotton balls at the grocery store, and then the bus was 3 minutes ahead of schedule, and then the fucking your boss had a purple shirt on, and that makes sense to, you know.
That means I'm being poisoned
Yes,
when
it's just like. So
yeah, I think there's order in the comment below if there's order in the universe. Team love. Team the universe is made out of love.
Team joy and unity and love.
There's just weird. Well, there's famous things like there was that book that was about a shipwreck, and it was like about the biggest ship in the world, and it hits an iceberg, and they don't have enough lifeboats. And it came out like right before the Titanic happened. Stuff like that is amazing.
I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but when I was younger, my grandma and I were talking. It was like a family dinner, so we've been talking about conversation that led up to this point, but I don't remember the conversation now. But it was about, we're talking about deja vu, like feeling like you've been somewhere or done something already before, and then you're like reliving it. And she asked me, oh, it was after that movie Deja Vu came out. I think Denzel Washington. I don't remember the movie. We were talking about that movie, and then she just said, you have a lot of deja vu, don't you? And I was like, well, yeah, I have. And like nothing in particular that's like, you know, It's not like I was like in a shootout at a grocery store and then like was in a shootout at a, like
Yeah.
there's nothing like, but it's just like you stop on a street corner and the sun is a certain place and you like see a blue car drive by and you're like, why did that feel like I've done that exact same thing before? That's just like
Yeah.
there is like very logical, rational explanations that like kind of explain that away. And there's very like convincing firsthand accounts of people's experiences, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah.
Like it you can't explain it away. You can just call it this or call it that. But the experience was the experience.
So there was a summary. I could put up a little picture of the headline. I just read yesterday. A new study suggests that consciousness may be rooted in quantum processes.
Okay. So like outside of the meat machine.
As researchers found that a drug binding to microtubules delayed unconsciousness in rats under anesthesia. So like, I don't want to become woo-woo.
Yeah, let's.
I don't understand. Yeah, let's do it. I don't understand. I don't want to go like we're like 6 episodes into a podcast.
Right.
I'm like quantum physics. Like every podcast always devolves into like quantum physics. But like if our experience, if like our experience of life is on a level that isn't necessarily linear with time, you know what I mean? I've always thought deja vu is weird because you don't get it when you actually do stuff. Like every Thursday, I leave here at the same time for work. I come home at the same time. I walk the same path. I come through the same door. I'm wearing the same clothes.
Literally.
I don't get deja vu.
Right.
I don't get deja vu, once a week. I get in my car. I drive to Price Chopper. I go to the same store. I walk down the same aisles. I buy a lot of the same stuff. I don't get deja vu. So, like, what is it
Right.
that gives you deja vu when you're standing on the street corner and the sun's a certain way? Like, what is that? And I think, I don't know, that the whole, if it is quantum or whatever, I think that could explain. Like, there was a study where people did better on tests.
People be studying.
There was a study where people did better on tests. They'd had 2 groups. One didn't study at all. Neither one studied before the test. Neither one studied. So I didn't study, you didn't study. They take the test, and then one group just goes home and gets their paper graded. The other group sat for like a couple hours and studied after the test.
Okay.
So you take an exam on like World War One, and then like I take it just cold, go home. You take it cold, then you sit around for 2 hours reading a thing with all the answers after you take the test. The group that studied after like consistently did better on the test. What the hell is that?
That's crazy.
It's like something in your brain isn't 100% linear with time. Like,
yes.
Yeah. And so I think stuff like your beautiful story about the dragonflies and the messenger and stuff, like, that to me is proof of what people have been saying forever, which is that, like, God is love. Like, the universe is love. Like, our experience of things and our emotions and stuff is, like, primary to like the physical reality, in my opinion. And so it might seem goofy or weird to some people, but like at the end of the day, it's like significant.
Right.
And that's what needed to happen for you to have this conversation with your mom.
Yeah. Whether that be, I don't know. I've given up on like the sophomoric fucking jerk off of trying to explain to like, it's such a fucking jerk off. Like I have faith that I'm not fully in control, that something else is here that loves and supports me and does not want me to fucking disintegrate into chaos. They want me to have these nice little moments and have a little hardship so I can appreciate those moments and grow, and that's a beautiful thing. I don't like if you're reading too much fucking French philosophy, like get over yourself. You don't have it figured out. You fucking don't. They didn't, and they said they didn't.
Stop reading, nerd.
Yeah. I imagined.
I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to figure things out.
No, but it really.
I do think it's weird when people think they've pretty much got it.
Right, and
Yeah.
with the help of like, they didn't just sit there in a room and be like, wah 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 existentialism.
Yeah.
Wah wah wah.
No,
wah,
right.
Wah 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 wah. Dostoevsky. I'm sad too. Wah 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 wah. Yeah. They fucking read all the other people's ideas who like sat at coffee shops and bars all day because they were depressed, and then like rationalized their own depravity and told other people to do it to justify their behavior.
Did not expect this to go down that route. That's so interesting, though. Have you ever noticed how people are just like...
That's how I feel.
Yeah, no, I love that. People just believe anything they read. I know I just brought up random... but like people will read a book on philosophy, or they'll watch a YouTube video, or they'll take like a college class, and somebody will just tell them, I believe this, and then they'll just like accept that as part of their personality.
I've experienced this recently, and just basically the person has done like a 180 on shit because they Which fine. It's like you download a new, you switch from PC to Apple, or Mac or whatever, but you still like have a spreadsheet. It's just getting there in a different way.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a pretty simple explanation, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You downloaded a different app that does the exact same thing, and it's blue instead of red.
Well, people will be like, they'll be at a bookstore.
And it's just like a way to examine things, but like, they're like, oh, I'm blue app now.
I'm blue app, and let me tell you what blue app says about red app.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
People will go to a bookstore, and they'll be like, I'm kind of interested in like, let's say like, brain science. Like I brought up that study or whatever.
I was going to say elephant penises.
Yeah. Let's say I'm interested in elephant penises. This is the way people operate, and college students especially. And part of the reason why this bothers me is I remember being this way. Because when you're young, a lot of times you just take what's given to you. You know what I mean? Like, so you buy that book on elephant penises. Let's say there's 6 books with different opinions about elephant penises.
What bookstore is this?
It's called... Borders.
On the plaza. Okay.
They'll go. There's 6 different books, and there's 100 books on elephant penises in the library. They go to the bookstore. There's 6 different books. They buy the one with the nicest cover or the best marketing. Mm-hmm. They take it home.
The big veiny one on the cover.
Yeah, they read They read that particular book on elephant penises, or their professor tells them to read that particular book on elephant penises, and then that's their new. They don't just take it for like, here's 1 out of 6 opinions.
They forgot that they saw 100 other different takes on
by other people. Yes, but because this one was assigned to you, not only do they take it at face value because that's the one they put time in to invest and read, but like that's their new, possibly lifelong opinion on elephant penises or neuroscience. And very rarely do people...
Or
go get the other 5, or philosophy, or politics,
spiritual path.
Yeah, very rarely do people go read the other 5
things that could like alter your behavior and therefore your life.
Yeah,
in like serious, drastic ways.
People have one psychology class when they're 19, and their professor says there was one study in 1970 where it turns out, actually people who are homophobic are secretly gay. And there's like that one study and that one authority figure is telling it to you, and then for the rest of their life they walk around and this is just a fact.
I remember that study. They fucking...
I know, we talked
measured people's boners.
I know, which would... First of all, what if that was their kink?
They got a bunch of gay porn and then measured people's boners after.
But, like, it's so, and I'm not saying don't believe anything, don't be a major skeptic on
You think
everything.
they measured by volume? They had to like
Girth or
dip it
length.
in some water and see the
How do you even
displacement.
measure that? What if it was an angry boner? But I just remember back when I was like 18, 19, 20, I would like, or even up to like 23, 24 when I got out of college, like I would, if you told me that fact, I would just be like, well, it's true because that guy told it to me and there was a study and that authority figure cited the study. And then you just walk around with it. It's like when you could just take it for what it is, put it in your mind as if like, this is how I'm going to answer the test, but it doesn't necessarily control my entire view on a subject.
It's a hilarious bit to get all these allegedly straight men in a
And
room.
strap stuff to their dick.
Yeah, and fucking measure their wieners.
This is a wiener heavy segment. Wiener and philosophy. That's all I gotta say. I've taken us way off track as usual.
Well, I think it's all relative. It's all relevant.
Yeah.
Relative and relevant. And
I guess my mind went there because people will hear stories about synchronicities or spiritually significant events in people's life and automatically discount it because it doesn't fit with their worldview.
Yes.
But for the most part, most of our worldviews are very shallow.
True.
And I understand you can't devote your whole life. None of us have the time to just constantly study stuff. But like, we
Right.
should just all be more accepting because the shit you base your opinions on isn't really that deep.
Yeah.
And then you make fun of other people for not doing their research or doing their own research. And it's like, we're all just trying to figure it out, guys. So if a dragonfly leads to a beautiful discussion with your mom, keep the science out of it, bitch.
Yeah. It's like those monks. I can't remember what it's called. They like devote their whole lives to, I want to say they're Buddhist. And there's like, the story I read about this, so there's like 100,000 accounts of this, firsthand accounts of people witnessing this. These monks go into this meditative state until they evaporate into a rainbow.
I've heard of that.
But they literally like believe it's possible, and then they, die as we would see it, but then they just become a rainbow in the room, and it smells nice. It's crazy.
For my birthday last year, you know what? I'm gonna go grab a prop. No, I'm not gonna grab a prop. Actually, I'm gonna grab a prop. Hold on a second. All right. This is my prop. This is a bag of dirt from a grave. So for my birthday last year, there was a nun.
Your family took you grave robbing?
My mom. In Gower, Missouri, which is an hour and a half from here, there was a nun who started a convent up in Gower, Missouri. She died like 5 years ago. They buried her in this shitty wooden coffin that had like roots and tree stuff growing through it out in the middle of this field. This is from the grave. We like went down in the grave. Me and my mom like scooped this out with a spoon. They went to move her body to a tomb because they got like money to like put into the convent or whatever. They crack open this 90-some-year-old woman's 5-year-old dead body, completely not decomposed. It's a miracle. They call it incorruptibility. You can Google this. We went and saw her body. We drove up there. Not only I touched her legs, her chest, I touched all of her body. People were praying. People were crying. People were like laying rosaries on her.
I will say,
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I didn't see the nun. I did not see Dennis rob that grave. But my dad was a mortician growing up, and so I helped with dead bodies and funerals. And they start decomposing right away.
Yes, and she was not embalmed.
They smell real bad until you drain all of their fluids.
She was not embalmed. She died. They put her in a shitty wooden coffin. They buried her in this like little grove of trees. Branches were growing through. The coffin was rotting. Her clothes and her body were uncorrupted. She just looked like a 90-year-old woman. You could touch her. The room, this is what made me think of it. The room smelled like roses. The room smelled really good. And they didn't have incense burning. It didn't smell like something burning. It wasn't like potpourri. There wasn't like, when you spray Febreze because you farted or whatever. It didn't smell like something was covering up a smell. smelled immaculate. That to me is like the closest thing to a miracle, if not a miracle, I've ever seen. And we didn't even know how to process it when we were driving home. We're like, did we just see a miracle? You know what I mean? It's like, probably. By the way, they did just finish a study about that like a month ago. The church looked into it, and like they don't declare incorruptibility a part of sainthood or whatever. But like they looked into like, was she actually embalmed? Is there some explanation of this? Can't explain it. Can't explain it.
So they tried to rationally.
They investigate that stuff.
Yeah.
That way. Basically, the church just said can't explain it. Totally okay to talk about it and say this is amazing. This might be a real thing. I feel like little miracles are happening. Do you believe in miracles? You a believer?
Yeah.
This is my ICP song for that. I feel like stuff like that happens.
What's that ICP?
Yeah.
I was thinking
fucking magnets. How do they work?
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking it was a I believe in miracles.
Oh, that's a good one. You came along.
Yeah. Well, okay. I got one more little synchronicity deja vu since we're talking about the nun. Last year I got arrested for DUI. I ended up in jail. Couldn't get out of jail for a while because I wasn't on a lease and they wouldn't bond me out of jail until I had a place to go. Anyway, I was in jail for a long time, about 30 days. Had a lot of time to think and read. So I read all the Michael Crichton books on the shelf. I read Blood Meridian. I've read 1984. I read To Kill a Mockingbird. And then, the classics. And then started reading the Bible. And I just went back to verses I could think of. Corinthians 13. I read the book of Revelation because they got the fucking sick angels with like the rotating eyeball. Anyway. The biblically accurate angels. Just started reading the verses that I could remember, and then I found this daily devotional book. Started reading a random verse out of there that they would give me every day, and then also like the references to verses in media, books, TV, shit, conversations that I would have with people there, and I ended up for like a couple days reading verses that had the word Emmanuel, which you told me what it...
God with us.
God with us. Yeah. I can never remember the translation. But, okay, the word Emmanuel, it's another name for Jesus, God with us. These verses all had that word in it, that name. And then this young guy shows up in our cell. One guy leaves and they replace him, and his name is Emmanuel. Like Emmanuel, he was like a Hispanic kid. He was probably 19 or 20. He had been abandoned by his parents in the West Bottoms at 14 and became homeless and got addicted to drugs. Met this guy who was like his old teacher or coach or something, got him on track with AA, and he's sober now and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh yeah, I restored my faith and all these crazy, like I felt like I was put there to have these. I would never have met that guy. I would have kept drinking thinking I was fucking able to like do it and not cause myself any harm or anybody. Anyway, synchronicity.
It is a synchronicity.
Yeah. There's like, I mean, I don't even know how many, there's hundreds of pages in the Bible. Could have read any verse and then that guy shows up and it means nothing. But I read like the few that have that name in it, and then he shows up and tells me this incredible story of like his redemption arc and getting his life back, and I'm like, well, my problems are pretty small. Another thing. Anyway. Yeah. You got anything else?
No, I mean, I feel like, as time goes on, we'll talk about more stuff, but yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good stories.
That was Deja Vu and Synchronicities on MKUsual. We did it again.
We did it again.
Like you said, we can't be stopped.
Nope. What did we learn?
We
have a fan.
We have at least one Very dedicated fan.
With interesting hobbies.
Shout out to Daryl.
Daryl, the authorities will get you, buddy.
We know that the crawl space does get bigger every day. Daisy, come here. Daisy's been looking for Daryl. She's rooting around. She can hear him in the walls. We'll get him. We'll get him. It's kind of nice just having someone around, though, you know?
Yeah, I like to hear him breathe at night.
Yeah.
I like to know that somebody's watching over me. Bowling's not cool. Don't do it, or they tell stories about you years later on a podcast in their kitchen. And that's the greatest revenge there is.
You could say that we should probably let go of those things, but they also...
I don't, it isn't like emotion. You just remember those. You remember things.
Yeah.
You can't wipe experiences out of your head.
Well...
Now, if I was like, and that's why I hit women, like, that would be, like, different.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. You could just have a memory, I guess. You don't have to let it... Oh, speaking of memories, dejavu. Talked about dejavu. Talked about synchronicities. Share yours in the comments.
Yeah, tell us your spiritual experiences or...
Yeah, sure.
Random, yeah. Sneak attack.
Fuck. Daisy has come to my aid. Come here, Daisy.
No, she's on my side.
Oh, she just wants to play. She's like, finally.
I can sneak attack at any time. That's right, you fat nerd.
I'm not a nerd. I'm a fat dork. Get it right.
We did it.
We did it.
Thanks for watching.
Miracles are real. It's a miracle that you are still watching this podcast.
Magic all up in this bitch.
Thanks for hanging out.